Somebody call 999. Hit. Bounce on up to the bongo. Hit. Everybody then turn your feet. Hit. Heart and soul in the rhythm of the beat. Hit. Nobody sleep. Boy, nobody can fool me. 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 Boy, nobody can rush 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 me. Coming out, watch them coming out. See them coming out, and you can feel them coming out. I saw the big man coming out, watch the big man coming out, and the ravers coming out, the whole nation coming out. Come on, give them all the head and call. Come on, give them all the head and call. Jerry go today, you going fall. Jerry go today, you going fall. Come on, give them all the head and call. Come on, give them all the head and call. Jerry go today, you going fall. Jerry go today, you going fall. Turn on the regulars, brace yourself. On the warriors, show yourself. Turn up the temperature, play yourself. And the greatest time, sweetest time, somebody call 999. Hit. Bounce on up to the bongo. Hit. Everybody then turn your feet. Hit. Heart and soul in the rhythm of the beat. Hit. Greetings and salutations one and all. Welcome to the night shift. It's another Tuesday night right here. Tonight we do a thing we call Healthy Love. This is the sound of Ultimate Rejects. It's called Heat. Nobody's sleep. Hold them high like a mountain. Goodness flow like a fountain. Through the fire, through the wire. Party to party, the pumpkin. Everybody come to the something. Back, flow like a duckling. Good and proper, deal with the matter. Challenge. Tell all the regulars. Brace yourself. On the warriors. Show yourself. Turn on the temperature. Play yourself. Somebody call 999. Hit. Bounce on up to the bongo. Hit. Everybody then turn your feet. Heart and soul in the rhythm of the beat. I tell you all something, you see. Boy, nobody can fool me. 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 Boy, nobody can rush me. If I told you, you probably wouldn't believe me. Boy, nobody can rush me. Boy, nobody can rush me. Squat from down by the shot time. Caught up in all of the action. Early morning to the evening. Right down to the last one. Beach was come from London. Look, she a feel like a dragon. From the reverse the wagon. In all the commotion. Tell all the regulars. I think I must be doing something right. On the warriors, show yourself. Turn up the temperature. Play yourself. Somebody call 999. Hit. Bounce on up to the bongo. Hit. Everybody then turn your feet. Heart and soul in the rhythm of the beat. Hit. Nobody sleep. Boy, nobody can fool me. Boy, nobody can fool me. Boy, nobody. I want to say a special thank you to Pulse Media Group for sponsoring this segment of the show. And being in the moment is priceless. You wanna give them a link. Watch them coming out, see them coming out, and you can feel them coming out. I saw the big man coming out, watch the big man coming out, and the ravers coming out. What can Pulse do for you? Exactly what you see right here on kevinstew.com. They can also just capture a moment for you, whether it be photos or videos. If you want to stream your event live, you can do that too. They can host your website. They can build the website for you if you want one hosted. Just give them a call, 754-999-6020, or visit them at pulsemg.com.
I think I might be putting the heat on some people or some entities. I don't know. But some strange things been happening with my website. Could I be doing the right thing? I don't know. Call a friend, tell a friend, it's a night shift. 773-789 gets you in touch. 773-789-7839. Easy to remember numbers. Tonight it's Healthy Love. And in Healthy Love tonight, we're looking at a little bit of something that was mentioned in last night's show with America's first mental health court judge. Judge Ginger Lerner Wren was my guest last night, and she mentioned something as we were talking. She did mention the opioid crisis and those affected by it going to courts that are problem-solving courts. Little did she know that I'd be looking at the opioid crisis for tonight's show. Who knew? But things have a way of coming together somehow. And I do encourage each and every one to participate. Jump on in the stew pot on kevinstew.com. And if you can't participate there, then feel free to Skype. Kevin.stew is my Skype name, my Skype handle. Go ahead and connect with me that way. Feel free. Because it is free. Especially for those of you who are not local, not in the continental US or Canada, that can just pick up a phone and say, all right, let me call Stu and chime in on this. Go ahead. You can Skype in on this. So there's that option. You call, you can call, you can text, you can use a stew pot. You can email djkevinstew@gmail.com. And you can also comment on the Kevin Stew page. At the bottom of the page, there is a contact me. Use that section. Send me your comment there. Feel free. I get the messages in my email. So you really have no excuse. But I do want to remind you that this is a judgment-free zone. So you need not worry about your comments. They're all valued. Now, as it relates to tonight's show, opioids. What do you know about them? What do you know about the whole opioid crisis? Well, opioid overdoses kill more than 130 people in the US daily. And this is in an unprecedented crisis that continues to spiral out of control. The pharmaceutical companies behind these drugs are now facing mounting lawsuits as it becomes even more clear that they're the ones with blood on their proverbial hands. Having pushed drugs and unsuspecting pain patients on unsuspecting pain patients while knowing they were unsafe. Who does that? You kind of have to chuckle. But really and truly, who does that? From 1999 to 2017, more than 702,000 people died from a drug overdose. And in 2017, this was a leading cause of injury-related death in the US. Of the 70,000 drug overdose deaths that occurred in 2017, 68% involved opioids. Now, even that isn't cause for concern, I don't know what is. So, Purdue Pharma manufactures OxyContin, and it was instrumental in driving up sales of the drug to close to $2 billion, with a B, $2 billion a year by 2004. And as it became clear that people were dying as a result, they engaged in in every damage control tactic that they could possibly think of, even suggesting that the only people dying from opioids, get this, the only people dying from opioids were already drug addicts. In a major expose by ProPublica, the lengths Purdue Pharma went to in order to downplay OxyContin's risks were revealed. Now, in short, ProPublica senior reporter David Armstrong wrote, OxyContin's makers delayed the reckoning for their role in the opioid crisis by funding think tanks, placing friendly experts on leading outlets, and deterring or challenging negative coverage. Sounds like they knew exactly what to say, who to get to say it, and where they would have them go to make those statements. Sounds like the perfect plan. Today, in December of 2019, the pharmaceutical industry's contribution to the opioid epidemic is well established, with even the US Department of Health and Human Services making a statement along the lines of, in the late 1990s, pharmaceutical companies reassured the medical community that patients would not become addicted to opioid pain relievers, and healthcare providers began to prescribe them at greater rates. Increased prescription of opioid medications led to widespread misuse of both prescription and non-prescription opioids before it became clear that these medications could indeed be highly addictive. But, and this was a statement that was put out by the Department of Health and Human Services. You know the statement, the saying, the fox is guarding the hen house. In 2004, doctors were being singled out for overprescribing the drugs, with criminal charges pending against major prescribers. That year, psychiatrist Sally Satel wrote an essay titled Doctors Behind Bars. Treating pain is now risky business. And this piece was featured in the New York Times. While painting people who became addicted to painkillers as typically a seasoned drug abuser with a previous habit involving pills, alcohol, heroin, or cocaine, Satel cited a study suggesting OxyContin was rarely was rarely the only drug involved in opioid-related deaths, and described an unnamed colleague who needed to prescribe large amounts of oxycodone, to help patients get out of bed. Seytel was described as a resident scholar at the American Enterprise Institute, but her many ties to Purdue Pharma were noticeably absent. Among the connections revealed by emails and documents obtained by ProPublica, Armstrong wrote, quote, Purdue donated $50,000 annually to the institute, which is commonly known as AEI, from 2003 through 2019, plus contributions for, through this year, the year of the article, plus contributions for special events for a total of more than $800,000. The unnamed doctor in Seytel's article was an employee of Purdue, according to an unpublished draft of the story. The story Seytel cited was funded by Purdue and written by Purdue employees and consultants. And a month before the piece was published, Seytel sent a draft to Bert Rosen, Purdue's Washington lobbyist and vice president of federal policy and legislative affairs, asking him if it seemed imbalanced, unquote. Now, when you talk about having the right persons in the right place saying the right things, this is a prime example right here. So the whole opioid cover-up was put in place, and that's what I'll call it. Seytel's media portrayal of opioids as saviors to pain patients is only the tip of the iceberg of Purdue Pharma's aggressive responses to counter criticism. Not only did Seytel's favorable writings continue, but Purdue Pharma hired notorious PR firm Dezenhall Resources. That's Dezenhall, Dezenhall, which has defended such clients as ExxonMobil and as listen, if ExxonMobil can call you up to defend them, then you come highly recommended because they have some dollars. But it has defended clients like ExxonMobil, and they got Dezenhall Resources to court Seytel and further their damage control. Armstrong continued, quote, ProPublica reviewed emails to Purdue officials in which Dezenhall and his employees took credit for dissuading a national television news program from pursuing a story about OxyContin, helping to quash a documentary project on OxyContin abuse at a major cable network, forcing multiple outlets to issue corrections related to OxyContin, and gaining coverage of sympathetic pain patients on a television news program and in newspaper columns. These people were good. It was 2001 when the New York Post published an article painting pain patients who may lose access to opioids as the true victims of the opioid controversy. And Eric Dezenhall the PR firm's founder, emailed Purdue Pharma executives in response, writing, "The anti-story begins." When you have the right people in the right place at the right time with the right message, then you get what you would consider to be the right result. In this case, the anti-story. That same year, Richard Sackler, who was Purdue Pharma's acting president, wrote in an email, "We have to hammer on the abusers in every way possible. They are the culprits and the problem. They are reckless criminals." The Sackler family, owners of Purdue Pharma, made it onto Forbes' top 20 billionaires list in 2015, in large part due to the ridiculous sales, the burgeoning sales of OxyContin. Now, I guess people have short-term memories. So typically, you come across something like this, the focus would be, oh my, they're in the top 20 billionaires. But what did they do to get to that place? After Purdue and Dizenhall launched their anti-story, Armstrong wrote, quote, "Media reports of OxyContin addiction and abuse declined for several years. In 2001, there were 1,204 stories that included the words OxyContin abuse, and Purdue published in media outlets archived on the Nexus database. The number plummeted to 361 in 2002 and 150 in 2006. Isn't that some wicked reduction in the inclusion of OxyContin, abuse, and Purdue in published media outlets? So the job that this group was hired to do, they were doing it quite effectively. So now what I'm thinking is, what tactics did they really and truly use? How can I implement that? Because I want to get these kind of results. Who doesn't want to get these kind of results in the business that they're doing? No, of course, you want to get these kind of results to be positive. You don't want less people calling your name. You want to have more people calling your name. But in order to have less people calling your name negatively, you have to be spewing something that they deem to be quite positive. And the anti-story did that. So people had been raising eyebrows and starting to point fingers. But here comes Dizenhall. And he said, him and his team, they got together and just went on a trot. No wonder he became one of Forbes' top 20 billionaires. It makes sense. So, what became of the accusations that were directed at Purdue Pharma? Because they didn't necessarily just go away, did they? Probably not. And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a quick little break, and we're gonna come back and see what else went down as it relates to Purdue Pharma and the whole opioid crisis, even as to what it is as that we know it as today. Remember, this isn't something new. This has been going on for a while. So what is happening now is that I'm for those who are not familiar with it, I'm introducing it to you. For those who remember it, I'm making sure you don't forget. This is Healthy Love. We'll be right back after these few messages. Call a friend, tell a friend. Come on in, jump in the stew pot. Call up Kevin, 773-789-STEW. Yep, call me up. Share what you know, share what you think. Ask your questions. Let's see if we can put our heads together and make some sense out of nonsense. We'll be right back.
Pulse Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulse Media Group.
Are you crazy about the music industry? You aspire to hit it big in music? Or maybe you've sweated out a soulful killer beat and are now stuck finding it's not as easy as it looked. Oh, but it can be easy for you with JTMC. We've been there. We know how it feels. So we solve challenges like production, promotion, marketing, branding and development, and more. With over 30 years of experience, JTMC is a one-stop shop for artists. We handle your graphic design, writing services, PR, as well as event planning, e-blasts, artist management, and bookings, so also your website and social media needs as well. We're experts in using creativity to persuade audiences on behalf of artists, drawing on our diverse experience to create projects that connect with audiences intellectually and emotionally. Artist success is everything to us, and our years of experience and commitment will be behind you for every one of your needs. If you've got music for the world to hear, whether you're a new or established artist, visit us at jtmcenterprise.com.
It takes an entire village to raise a child. Hello, I'm Paul Campbell, here to talk about Palace. Peace and Love Academic Scholarship. This non-profit group supports students facing serious obstacles from entering or continuing their studies, not because the grades are failing, but due to the lack of financial support.
Over the past 8 years, Palace has awarded 600 scholarships valued at approximately 50.3 million Jamaican dollars, or 415,000 US dollars.
Together, we must build a better future for our children. Please visit www.palace1.org and make your donation to brighten the future of a deserving child. Palace, preserving young minds for posterity.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school,
In math,
I learned that I'm ugly
I
and
learned
useless.
that I'm trash.
And in gym,
In biology,
I learned that I'm pathetic
that I'm fat
and a
and
joke.
stupid.
In history,
Today in
I learned that
school,
I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes
In
me.
biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid.
In English,
And in
I
math,
learned that I make people
I
sick.
learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today.
The only thing I didn't learn today.
The only thing I didn't learn
It's why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
Hi, this is Cara Manti, and you're listening to DJ Kevin Stew, and this is The Night Shift.
Eyes open up, I'm waking up. The life you love, me not give up. It got me trust, so do it tough. I just keep the walk. You can't fail if you try no way. Let God be your guide all day. If you're all every time I say, just know you want no penny nobody. Right now while your office today, go all out and no go halfway. You can't win, that is all I say. Just know you want no penny nobody. So when you're meditating, I got money, good life you're penetrating. You want go speak straight, elevating. Go hard right now, no waiting. The question is what you do today, king. You can't cheat life, that I know debating. You have to put in the work, forget the great things. All night, all day, till you see the scrapings. Ching. You can't fail if you try no way. Let God be your guide all day. Give your all every time I say. Just do you want no penny nobody. Right now while your office today, go all out and no go halfway. You can't win, that is all I say. Just do you want no penny nobody. Me beg your overs on me talk. Me no mean you fi work hard. When me mean is your fist man, master. Cause some who know a go hard. Now see ma who know yard. Always pan guard, no sir. You fi include the master. Overstand say that a the forecaster. Get balance with God in the center. So everything you want, you will get that faster. You can't fail if you try no way. Let God be your guide all day. Give your all every time I say. Just do you want no penny nobody. Right now while your office today, go all out and no go halfway. You can't win, that is all I say. Just do you want no penny nobody. You can't fail if you try no way. Let God be your guide all day.
This is the sound of Caramanti from her album Hurt People, Hurt People.
While your office today,
This track is called Eyes Open Up.
you can't win, that is all I say. Just do you want no penny nobody. Eyes I'm waking up.
I want to say thanks to our segment sponsor for this segment, Althea. Thank you very much. Althea and her healing heavenly hands. Althea is a licensed massage therapist in Broward County, working also in North Miami-Dade and South Palm Beach counties. All you need to do is give her a call. She'll come to you with table and oils. If you have your own oils, you can work with that too. Just go ahead and give her a call. 954-655-9000. And she'll come to you, make arrangements, All you need to do is talk. You can also email her at fairlate@att.net. Only thing that you're asked to do is just get off the table when she's done and jump into your comfortable spot so she can go. Not asking for too much, is she? So, Purdue Pharma claimed that they were unaware that OxyContin was being abused until the 2000s. Picking up where we left off here. If you just tune in and you don't know where we were before, well, we're looking at the opioid crisis and who is being blamed for it. Not who is responsible, but who is being blamed. So we had introduced Purdue Pharma into the mix very early out with the information. And Purdue Pharma was one of the largest producers of, or is the producer of OxyContin. So Purdue Pharma, they're saying, as according to Mercola.com, and y'all can look this up, they were unaware that OxyContin was being abused until the 2000s. But a Justice Department report showed they knew the drug was popular with drug addicts in the late 1990s, and that they'd concealed the information. Now, despite knowing that the drugs were being crushed, snorted, and stolen from pharmacies, they continued to market the drug as less addictive and less prone to abuse. But they knew that people were being addicted to it, and they knew that people were abusing it. DOJ, Department of Justice, prosecutors recommended that 3 Purdue Pharma executives be indicted on felony charges, which could have sent them to prison. Notice I said could have. According to the information, the case was settled. Now, further, in 2007, Purdue Pharma pleaded guilty to charges of misbranding with quote, with intent to defraud and mislead the public, unquote, and paid out $634.5 million in fines. But the fines did little to dissuade them from continuing to profit off the deadly drugs. Because even after paying out $634 million in fines, the drug was still being sold. More recently, a number of states and municipalities have sued Purdue Pharma over the role it played in the opioid crisis. In March 2018, the company reached a $270 million settlement with Oklahoma, about $122.5 million of which are earmarked for the funding of a drug addiction treatment center in at Oklahoma State University. And that will study opioid addiction and its treatment. As part of the deal, Purdue has also agreed to stricter limitations on how they market and sell opioids in Oklahoma. And when you consider Purdue has made an estimated $35 billion from sales of OxyContin since its release in 1996. Settlements of a few $100s are still akin to a slap on the wrist. It's just like saying, oh, come on. Yeah. There you go. Don't do it again. Now, originally, Oklahoma had sought damages in excess of $20 billion, but settled for $270 million. Okay. I wonder what inspired them to come down on their settlement amount. And there has to be something. But let's take a look, if you will, at something that played an interesting role in people's interest in some of these opioids. The whole fact of advertising. Yeah, because that plays a large role in it. And in a minute, I'm going to give you some information as it relates to direct to customer, or DTC, or direct to consumer advertising. I've touched on this before. I'm going to touch on it again because it plays a large role in the understanding of certain drugs or the acceptance of certain drugs in our markets. Purdue Pharma, in September of this year, 2019, filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy as part of a deal to settle the more than 2,000 lawsuits it's currently facing, alleging the company fueled the opioid epidemic by misleading doctors and patients about their drugs. Bankruptcy is a common tactic aimed at stemming the flow of lawsuits. While for decades, the Sacklers have been successfully in largely separating their name from the deadly product that made them rich, some of the lawsuits have named individual Sacklers as defendants. But some opposed to the bankruptcy deal suggest it could still let the family off the hook. According to STT News, states that have opposed the bankruptcy deal have said that it would not extract enough from the members of the Sackler family. They've argued that Purdue's assets are limited because the family has absorbed the bulk of the company's profits, and so should be on the hook for more than the deal outlines. The New York Attorney General's office said it had uncovered $1 billion in wire transfers by the Sacklers, alleging the family was trying to hide its assets. Plaintiff's attorney have likened the ongoing case to the one against the tobacco industry that culminated in a $246 billion settlement 2 decades ago, 20 years ago. Now, Purdue Pharma is only one pharmaceutical giant that is owned by the Sackler family. Notice, they didn't say it is the only pharmaceutical company owned. It is one of. They also own Mundi Pharma, which is a Chinese company that is selling OxyContin overseas, using a lot of the same marketing tactics Purdue Pharma is being accused of. In 1995, when Purdue Pharma received US FDA approval for extended release oxycodone, or OxyContin, for the management of moderate to severe pain, it was promoted as being non-addictive and safe for long-term use, unlike other opioids on the market. Oh, you getting it now? You're understanding now, right? I see that light bulb going off over some people, having that aha moment, connecting the dots. Isn't it a beautiful thing? Now, unfortunately, the idea that extended release OxyContin, which didn't lead to the immediate high drug abusers were presumably looking for, it was less addictive, was not based on real evidence. That whole idea that was less addictive, it wasn't based on real evidence. Now, meanwhile, in China, present-day sales reps for Mundipharma are repeating the same deadly story. Quote, in conversations with the AP more than a decade later, 3 current and former sales reps in China made the same misleading pitch, which was repeated in training and marketing materials used by Mundipharma staff. And this was a report by STAT News. And they added to that, immediate release morphine and Dolantin are more addictive. A current employee recently told AP on condition of anonymity for fear of losing her job. OxyContin, which enters the blood slowly, she explained, doesn't resemble immediate release morphine, rising and falling with these frequent peaks and troughs that cause a euphoric feeling. I'm shocked, she said, after AP showed her documents from the US legal case and 2016 guidelines from the US Centers for Disease Control that say there's no evidence long-acting opioids reduce risk of abuse. Why, after more than 10 years, would they still do the same thing and go against the laws and regulations of society, she said. Good question, right? Mundipharma's sales rep have also violated Chinese law by copying patients' private medical records to better target sales, and have even worn white doctors' coats to make visits to hospitals or with hospital patients, as well as offer doctors paid speaking jobs and gifts. See the kickbacks? See, this is what I'm talking about when I mention Big Pharma having these kickbacks to the doctors. These are the kind of things we're talking about. Mundipharma is also actively working to combat opiophobia. No, I don't even know if that's a real phobia, but it's quote unquote opiophobia. And they're working to combat this in doctors, not even in just the average Joe like you and me. They're working to combat that in doctors, which is reportedly the mistaken belief that opioid painkillers are highly addictive and should be used sparingly. Now, while in the US, Purdue Pharma has stopped marketing OxyContin to doctors, in China, Mundipharma is hoping OxyContin sales surpass those in the US by 2020, not 2020, but 2025. So they have long-term plans for this in China. You realize that China is pretty much making inroads to just about every industry everywhere else? These people are not dumb. They know what they're doing. Now, you hear the whole idea of marketing being mentioned just now, right? I need you to pay attention to something before I move on to the rest of this information. Direct to consumer advertising, DTCA or DTC advertising, whichever way you want to term it. It refers to the marketing and advertising of pharmaceutical products to consumers as patients, as opposed to specifically targeting health professionals. They're targeting the consumers directly. The term is synonymous primarily with the advertising of prescription medicines via mass media platforms, most commonly on TV and in magazines, but also through online platforms. Direct-to-consumer advertising is only completely legal in 2 countries. 2. New Zealand and the United States. But they are subject to regulations regarding the balanced disclosure of a prescription's benefits in comparison to its risks, among other factors, of course. Regulations regarding DTCA are typically applied to advertising materials that describe a prescription's indications and benefits, and may be more lenient to advertising materials which do not discuss uses. Many countries ban any advertising of prescription drugs directly to consumers. Not the US, not New Zealand. There are ethical and regulatory concerns regarding DTCA, specifically the extent to which these ads may unduly influence the prescribing of the prescriptions based on consumer demands, when in some cases they may not be medically necessary, or there are cheaper options available. Critics of DTCA, direct to consumer advertising, have argued that too much is spent on marketing medications rather than into research and development. In the United States, ad spending by drug makers reached $5.2 billion in 2016. Now, why is that important? In order for drug makers to be spending $5.2 billion in advertising, are you aware that they would have to be making significantly more than that? And typically, when you look at any successful company in any successful market, their marketing budget is typically the largest, because especially in the US, because we know that getting the word out there is what brings money in, and you have to be effective in your marketing. So let's rewind a little bit. You remember we mentioned Desenol, right? They were being very effective in downplaying the negative effects of oxycodone. And in doing that, it allowed for a little bit more of the pushing of the drug and the ignoring of the negative effects of the drugs. The fact that it is quite addictive, hence contributing to the opioid epidemic. You see how the dots connect, you see how the parts move together. Understand this. No one is immune from becoming addicted to opioids. No one. And when we come back, we'll look at that in a little bit more detail. But that is something to really think about. You're not immune to it. What would make you so different from everybody else? Can you think of something? Give me one thing, anything that would possibly make you immune to it or make you so different. Or is it that you don't need drugs to manage your pain? You don't have that level of pain? Well, go have surgery. See if that continues. Something to think about. We're gonna take a quick little break. We'll be right back. When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
I'm in almost every school bus in class. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm 1 out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger.
Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help.
Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me. We are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
JTMC Music presents the highly anticipated, much talked about, The Juggling Rhythm Volume 1. This classic rhythm takes on a new life with tracks from both established artists and introduces some incredible new voices. Get your dancing shoes ready with The Juggling Rhythm, featuring international reggae dancehall artist Mr. Vegas, alongside Ian Sweetness, Ed Robinson, Jack Radix, Hezron, Dangling, Joanna Marie featuring Galaxy B, Denny Ranks featuring Jawiz, Amberleek, Christine Alicia, Yishka. Also the new sensations on the rhythm: Seal, Danger Lee, Marquis Skelenar, Zachary. Available on all digital media outlets. The Juggling Rhythm. Get it, get it, get it.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
Hey, I'm representing for DJ Kevin Stew, working on the night shift radio show. Won't go changing like the weather, just to please the devil never. Will DJ Kevin Stew sell his soul? That's a word and honor. It's Christine representing word and honor. Selassie DJ Kevin Stew.
Halukia no, oh Halukia. Hey, yes sir, it's a boy Jordan Congo Bongo himself, and I represent for Kevin Stew on the night shift. City and Kamola vibes. Yes sir.
King Selassie, I guide we on with journey. Yeah, I to the Z to the A to the N. It's Jordan and Jordan. I'm send no for them a wolf in children. No for them a war like them real but not pretend them a pretend. Them a wolf in children. No for them a pray and I wish just to see you right there.
How me feel, remember, everything was so real, you know, remember. We used to roll as a team, you used to tell me, say Jordan, you are my singer. So oh no, you know I'm if you be the winner. It hurt them when you work so hard for them, and them a tell you it's not worth it. Them a
sheep clothing. No for them a pray and I wish just to see your life and them a wolf in sheep clothing. No for them a ball like them real when I pretend them a pretend. Them a wolf in sheep clothing. I miss a wolf in sheep clothing. Yeah, I said them a play fool feel catch wise. I roll under disguise. Lucky thing, me no idiot, no me think twice. Chief am happy rise and open up eyes. Hey Jordan, them not like we see when we are striving. Just wanna say we future bright, and them never a go live. We see them youth ya hype up. King Selassie I him take we on a higher heights. Them want crucify I like Christ. I see no for them a wolf in sheep clothing. No for them a go on like them real when I pretend them a pretend. Them a wolf in sheep clothing. No for them a pray and I wish just to see your life and them a wolf in sheep clothing. No for them a go on like them real when I pretend them a pretend. Them a wolf in sheep clothing. I miss a wolf in sheep clothing.
Me no know them having a heart.
Jordan not who them a smile like them peace we a laugh.
I come with a back style and never knew me but a crafter.
Them see we on the rise and them now want to see we prosper.
I never see when we dey on the side and mix baller.
And me with the bucket up and me head a carry water.
Everything we have to live we work very hard.
Jordan them now go live to see we maga. No for them a wolf in sheep clothing. No for them a go on like them real when I pretend them a pretend. Them a wolf in sheep clothing. No for them a pray and I wish just to see your life and them a wolf in sheep clothing. No for them a go on like them real when I pretend them a pretend. Them a wolf in sheep clothing. I miss a wolf in
The sound of Aizen working out with Jordan. The track is called Wolf in Sheep Clothing. I want to welcome you back to the night shift of DJ Kevin Stew. Healthy Love Night right here. We're looking at the opioid crisis and who is being blamed for it. Now, understand this. With the whole direct to consumer marketing and everything. Opioid prescribing rates in the US are higher when compared with other countries. And basically, according to Science Daily, physicians in the United States may prescribe opioids may prescribe opioids more frequently to patients during hospitalization and at discharge when compared to their physician peers in other countries. And this is according to a recently published study led by researchers from the University of Colorado School of Medicine. The study reviewed prescribing practices at 11 academic hospitals in 8 countries. The United States, Canada, Italy, Spain, Taiwan, South Korea, the United Kingdom, and New Zealand. The 4 hospitals in the United States were the University of Colorado Hospital, Denver Health, Hennepin Healthcare in Minneapolis, and Legacy Health in Portland, Oregon. Compared with patients hospitalized in other countries, a greater percentage of those hospitalized in the US were prescribed opioids and analgesics both during hospitalization and at the time of discharge. Even after adjustment for pain severity, as well as several other factors like how ill the patients were. And this is what authors of the article that was published online in the Journal of Hospital Medicine wrote. So it wasn't a one-off thing where somebody was talking behind somebody's back or anything like that. No. They put that out there. The first author of the article is Marisha Burden. She's a medical doctor, associate professor of medicine at the CU School of Medicine, and head of the Division of Hospital Medicine. The study is important because the epidemic misuse of opioid medications has led to addiction and premature death in many countries, in many communities, across the country. For the newly published study, the researchers approached 1,309 eligible patients, and 981 of them consented to the study. 503 were in the US, and 478 were from other countries. 79% of the patients in US hospitals who experienced pain were prescribed opioids during hospitalization, compared with 51% of patients at sites in other countries. In addition to prescribing practices, the authors note that the patient's perception of pain and the cultural biases toward pain medication may have affected the prescribing practices. So basically, if you create a certain mindset, then it influences a certain type of action. In this case, how the intensity of pain is perceived. Because, the US is typically about comfort. Anybody that is familiar with things of the US know that. When you think of all the bells and whistles in new cars and new vehicles, it's all made for comfort. Not necessarily practicality, but definitely for comfort. So, if something becomes even slightly uncomfortable, that's a problem. And that becomes a marketable thing, or a targeted thing in marketing, depending on which angle you're approaching it from. So the article goes on to say, while we observed that physicians in the US more frequently prescribed opioid analgesics during hospitalizations, the physicians working in other countries were also observed that patients in the US reported high levels of pain during their hospitalization. Burden and her co-authors wrote, our study suggests that reducing the opioid epidemic in the US may require addressing patients' expectations regarding pain control in addition to providers in addition to providers inpatient analgesic prescribing patterns. Excuse me. So you need to change the narrative. We need to change the way we view pain and pain management. And in doing that now, you reduce the need for opioids. Purdue Pharma's attempts to blame the opioid crisis on addicts have basically failed. And it is now widely known that even when taken as directed, prescription opioids can lead to addiction as well as tolerance, which means you will need an increasingly stronger dose to get the pain relieving effects because of tolerance. It's just like it's the very same way that bacteria becomes tolerant to antibiotics. Oh, you didn't see it the same way? Well, think about it. How different could it be? Physical dependence, in which you suffer withdrawal symptoms if you stop taking the drugs, can also result along with other issues like increased sensitivity to pain, depression, low levels of testosterone, and more. Now it's start to make sense with the other thing. The increase in drugs like that of the erectile dysfunction drugs. It makes sense. Some of these things I didn't think about prior to now, but they really do make sense. When you stop and you look at the bigger picture and how all these things possibly connect. I'm not saying it is the reason why you have these erectile dysfunction drugs so prevalent in the market and being advertised so heavily, but it makes sense when you take into consideration that testosterone levels could be affected by your withdrawal from opioids. Anyone who takes prescription opioids can become addicted to them. Anyone. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter the type of personality you have, none of that matters. In fact, as many as 1 in 4 patients receiving long-term opioid therapy in a primary care setting struggle with opioid dependence. Once addicted, it can be hard to stop. Money is still being made by opioid makers, even as people are dying as a result. The motivation to sell more of these drugs is not one of altruism, but one of greed. If you need pain relief, try to find some natural options first. Be aware that opioids are not always necessary to treat even moderate to severe pain. You have things like ibuprofen and acetaminophen, which they have risks of their own, but they're not opioids. And they work just as well. Or they stand a very good chance of working just as well. But there are options. And all you have to do is ask a question here, ask a question there, and do a little research yourself, possibly. In fact, do the research and then ask the questions. See if what you're being told comes in line with what you have found. Now, I know there are doctors out there that don't like when you do your research, because then they say, if you can go ahead and do this research for yourself, then you can go ahead and write yourself a prescription. Why do you need them? For some, it's a pride thing. Some know their stuff so much that they don't have a problem directing you to go look up things yourself, because they know what they're telling you is sound and true. The ones you need to worry about are the ones on the take from Big Pharma. The ones that get the paid speaking events courtesy of Big Pharma. The ones who get the kickbacks as in the form of monetary gain and vacations These things happen. Reports after reports, and articles after articles are printed on this, are presented on this. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's known. Who is doing it? Well, that may be harder to find. Doesn't mean that it cannot be found. But these people have big money. It doesn't take much for them to discredit individuals who basically are just asking the questions based on little evidence that is presented to them. They're hiring top class, top level people that know other people. Know enough people or have enough connections to pull certain strings to make things appear slightly different from they are. And of course, there are contributions to things like political campaigns. That could make a big difference. So, you look at big pharmaceutical companies in the United States, and it's just a whole web of connections that come from that. Because you have big pharma, then you have big farming, and they all come back to certain organizations which also connect to certain politicians. So is it that we're doomed? Or is it that we just need to start standing up for certain things so that we don't get pushed around and fall for anything? I'm just saying. But, who am I?
I need time for myself, time to think. Can't please everybody, stop talking to me. I'm so tired of myself, hard to break. Can't please anybody, start talking to me. And it doesn't matter at all if I win or if I fall. My feelings are stuck inside me. When nobody can see, my feelings are stuck inside me. Can you rescue me? Can you rescue me? Can you rescue me? If I could forget and erase all the pain, would I still remember your beautiful face? If I could go back and erase my mistakes, but I can't, so take me to a better place. And it doesn't matter at all if I win or if I fall. My feelings are stuck inside me. When no
Before we heard from Rebecca Barbosa.
When it's the sign of the time, sign of the broken line, time when the bells in my time, all I know is that strange.
Isn't Rebecca celebrating an Earth date? Believe she is. Happy Earth Date, Rebecca. Track called Rescue Me. This is Tasha Love. It's called Strange Things. Out to the UK, courtesy of One Harmony Music. Strange things are happening. Signs of the times. Tasha Love.
Sign of the broken line, time when the bells in my time, all I know is that strange things are happening, yeah. I gave him back the keys to his front door, 'cause it seems he didn't care about me anymore.
I want to say thanks to each and every one of you for hanging out with me, and listening in, and getting some information.
Lord knows that
And this is where we
be lonely tonight.
try to let it sink in, settle in, process how we're gonna move forward with it,
Mommy know that
and wind down,
wanna be lonely tonight.
to call it a night, especially for me.
'Cause I would rather to be lonely.
This is our musical therapy.
All of those things that we've been through.
I want to thank GMAT Music Solutions
That make me blue.
for sponsoring this segment of the show, our musical therapy segment. Thanks to JTMC for taking care of the segment just before.
No, but now I've seen it with my own eyes. I know actions speak louder than words. But Lord knows that I don't wanna be lonely tonight.
Go ahead and link GMAC for your stage production services and musical equipment, audio engineers, DJs, bands, musicians, singers, bringing your event to life. Give them a call, 754-307-4622. Easy way to remember it, 754-307-GMAC.
Check your keys and go on, me no want them no more. All them dirty lies, you can keep them for sure. Me a one girl you can't play with. Me rather sleep by myself than to stay with. Bam, bam, what's a bam, bam, what's a bam, bam, what's a bam, bam. You see me? I don't wanna be lonely tonight. Don't wanna be lonely tonight. I don't wanna be lonely tonight.
Boy, don't you treat me like a puppet on a string.
This is Echo Slim working out with Striker Lee,
You know I don't went from
featuring Chris Alexandra. Asking the question, do you love me?
See, there ain't enough time in the day for us to be playing games. I already said all there is to say, so I need you to tell me if you feel the same. Do you love me, baby? Do you love me, love me, love me, love me, love me? Tell me, do you love me, baby? I'm standing here waiting in the rain, knocking on your door, but nobody answering. Baby, why don't you tell me? You could even spell it out, I can hear you clearly. We could take it slow, I just gotta be a lady. Don't have me out here believing in your story, yeah. Baby, I've been waiting here, hoping that you feel the same. I really like it, but don't wanna wait in vain. I spill my heart to you, I'm asking for the truth. Is it really me and you, or am I just delusional? Do you love me, baby? Do you love me, love me, love me, love me, love me right now? Do you love me, baby?
How you going, sir?
Never meant for hurt me, but you did. What a thing on me, I sit down and now you for bring the mess. Tell me that you want me love, but you got nothing to give. I may hang you on your line, and boy, that's no way to live. Whoa, you can't get one more minute of my time. You got me stressed out, now I'm drawing the line. Boy, you couldn't keep up, so you will get left behind. Now me, I run back and forward, you was wasting my time. So tell me, boy, do you love me, baby? Do you love me, love me, love me, love me, love me? Tell me, do you love me, baby? Do you love me, baby?
Chris Alexandra,
Do you love me, love me,
Striker Lee,
love me, love me?
Echo Slim.
Do you love me, baby?
It's called Do You Love Me?
Tonight we're gonna take it slow. Just me and you. Tonight we're gonna take it slow.
Yeah, that's how we're doing it tonight. Nice and easy.
Tonight we're gonna take it slow.
This is The Real Storm.
Just me and you. Tonight we're gonna take it slow.
Baby girl, and we've been partners in crime. Bonnie and Clyde, shotgun by my side while we swerve on a drive. Barely find the time to look in each other's eyes, but tonight we've got to change the vibe, yeah. Always on the move, so we got no time to cruise. Racing against time like we got something to lose. Missing her smile whenever we trampoos, but tonight we've got to change the mood, yeah.
Let's find that place, baby, let's go. Somewhere
place.
Baby, let's go.
Somewhere safe.
Baby, let's go.
Quit the fast pace
like we got nowhere to go.
Drop the tempo.
Tonight we're gonna take it slow.
Taking it slow.
Just me and you. Tonight we're gonna take it slow. Tonight we're gonna take it slow. Just me and you. Tonight we're gonna take it slow.
Say what you say now.
I'm feeling your tempo, like wow. Your vibe is the right flow, real slow. Balance the crescendo, because I'm feeling your tempo. God knows.
So me say season circle make we chill. Hotter than the water in a kettle, it a bubble till it spill. Power and the will to let the time stand still. Aye, the chemistry are full.
Tonight we're gonna take it slow. Just me and you. Tonight we're gonna take it slow. Tonight we're gonna take it slow. Just me and you. Tonight we're gonna take it slow. Tonight we're gonna take it slow.
Yeah, we're not rushing it.
On the busy highway of life. One day I've made a lot of
Tonight we're gonna take it.
Just taking our time.
When I to make that escape. Rock and coming to the very special place, very special space, where you and I can be together. Warm and easy.
Tonight we're gonna take it slow.
This is the sound of Sharon
On a
Corinthian.
distant island, ablaze with life-giving sun, living as
It's called Cradle of Joy.
the natives give freely, friendship, caring, and love, sharing blessings that come from above. Our children are happy, they play without fear, knowing someone to trust is ever near. Pure, rushing water when thirst takes us over. Relaxing ocean waves from exhaustion to recover. In the lap of nature, food is easy to get. Just plant a seed and the table is set. That sweet reggae music, one drop rhythm, it's the heartbeat of the Caribbean. Sweet, sweet paradise, a cradle of joy, island in the sun. Those were the good old days when I was young. Sweet, sweet paradise is where my roots come from. Remnants of my childhood, filled with so much laughter, joy, and fun. Granny in our kitchen, taste buds jumping, ackee sawfish, banana and dumpling. Saturday morning, she gonna market. Evening come, sell out the whole basket. Granny gone. The yard all day around, I have fun. Better make sure say all the housework done. Else, your backside going bun till morning come. Bedtime stories to awaken the senses of a child. The adventures of Brother Nancy and Brother Tukuma allowed my imagination to run wild. May I tell you, no one else sweeter than Dog jam down in our big yard. Playing marbles, gig, slingshot too. There's always something to do. We got our river every day, me and my crew. I long for that island, so far away, to be a child again, to play without worry, laughing with the breeze to sway.
Sound of Sharon Corinthian. Sharon used this piece and won the Miss Lou competition at the recent Grace Jamaican Jerk Festival in Miramar, Florida. This was what, 3 weeks ago? Just about? Yeah. Congratulations, Sharon. And happy belated Earth Day. Sharon celebrated her Earth Day last Monday. I believe, if memory serves me correctly. This is Aisha B.
Baby, you know I love ya.
Yeah, we're still nice and easy with it.
You must be heaven sent especially for me. You have given the best of you, and I'll be giving the best of me. Boy, the way you love me, ooh, you turn me on. I can't wait for you to get home so I can give it to you. Tonight, we'll take that flight. It's the flight of our lives. On our way to paradise. And tonight, we'll take that flight. It's the flight of our lives. On our way to paradise. Your warm embrace, lying next to you. There's no place I'd rather be. Just give it all to me. Your captivating smile got me in a trance. Put your body on my body. Let's fly to ecstasy. Tonight, we'll take that flight. It's the flight of our lives. On our way to paradise. And tonight, we'll take that flight. It's the flight of our lives. On our way to paradise. Say right, you know me want to tell you how me feel. All day me day I fantasize, me want to keep it real, baby. The way you touch me body, love my body, yo. The softness of your touch, now all that makes me feel the way you do. My emotions are overflowing and I just can't take no more. Baby, what are you doing to me? Keep the loving coming tonight. We'll take that flight. It's the flight of our lives. On our way to paradise. And tonight, we'll take that flight. It's the flight of our lives. On our way to paradise. You must be heaven sent especially for me. You have given the best of you, and I'll be giving the best of me. Boy, the way you love me, ooh, you turn me on. I can't wait for you to get home so I can give it to you. Tonight, we'll take that flight. It's the flight of our lives. On our way to paradise.
There's nothing that could keep me away, my love.
Kevin,
I'll take the time to ease your mind, yeah.
This is the sound of Christina Alicia.
My heart waits for
It's called Key Lock.
This is the key lock. Lock me in your heart store. Turn the doorknob. Shut me in forevermore. This is true love. No denying it's for sure. What Charles put together, let no man put us under. Key lock. Lock me in your heart store. Doorknob. Shut me in forevermore. True love. No denying it's for sure. What Charles put together, let no man put us under. Yeah. Oh, Jano, I'm telling you I'm here 'cause they tell me what else I always on my mind. I can see that you're not happy. There's something missing in your life.
This is Hopeton Lindo.
Wants you to have his children, obviously.
A track called Your Best Friend.
You said that I'm your best friend, and I'm honored to be the one in your corner. The temptation is getting the better of me as my feelings for you get stronger. You say that I'm your best friend, and I'm honored to be closer than a brother. But I really don't know if I can keep this up much longer. You keep thinking you can change it, but you're just a prisoner of love. You're complaining, but you refuse to tell yourself that enough is enough. You said your life needs rearranging, and you want to get closer to me. Well, you've got to make your decision, 'cause I don't wanna be a victim of jealousy. You said that I'm your best friend, and I'm honored to be the one in your corner. But temptation is getting the better of me as my feelings for you get stronger. You say that I'm your best friend, and I'm honored to be closer than a brother. But I really don't know if I can keep this up much longer. You said it's like a roommate, ain't nothing going on. Why punish yourself and keep holding on? You deserve to be loved and comforted, someone to keep you warm. You say that I'm your best friend, and I'm honored to be the one in your corner. But temptation is getting the better of me as my feelings for you get stronger. You say that I'm your best friend, and I'm honored to be closer than a brother. But I really don't know if I can keep this up much longer. You can call me anytime, any minute, any hour. Just call me. Girl, I'll make time for you 'cause you're special, and you're always on my mind. I can see that you're not happy. There's something missing in your life. He wants you to have his children, obviously doesn't want you to be his wife. You're like a secret lover.
I can call you anytime. When my heart is down and my face wears a frown, you are always around.
This is Anique,
So that I can talk to,
my comforter.
genuine and true.
At Hopeton on the best friend.
Need you're a friend.
Anique talking about the comforter.
Count on you. I'm so glad that you're my comforter, and I'm willing to see where this love will take us. I have no more time to invest in a life that was never designed for me. I'm so glad that you're my comforter, and I'm ready to be your one in a million. To have and to hold and to get that grow old just like how it's supposed to be. Been unhappy for a while now, but I tried my best to make it work. Even though I hide my hurt, I've got to face the fact that he doesn't know what I'm worth. I don't know what he is thinking, but this is truly a waste of my time. I'm so glad I have a friend like you that I could call on anytime to relax my mind. I'm so glad that you're my comforter, and I'm willing to see where this love will take us. I have no more time to invest in a life that was never designed for me. I'm so glad that
I
you're
got 5 minutes to go.
and I'm ready to be the one.
I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, 10 p.m. to midnight, kevinstew.com,
You don't want the Empress stand tall and proud when
where we do real talk.
to you. You need to know some of the day I feel
You know, talking about best friends and comforters.
and the day I feel no blues. Now give me the best, I'll move to the left, my stick.
We wonder.
That's who's next. No more time for no stress.
After recognizing that someone is your friend, and if things go a little bit further than just being platonic friends.
This love will take us. I have no more time to invest.
Even to the point of, say, marriage.
I'm so glad that you're my comforter.
What about your other friends? Can you still be close friends with them? Is that okay? Join me in Real Talk tomorrow. We can see if we can work it out, yeah?
Call you anytime. When my heart is down and my face wears a frown, you are always around. Someone special that I can talk to. Who is genuine and true. And when I'm in need, you're a friend indeed. I can always count on you.
I could give a damn what this world thinks of me.
Closing out a little something for the Hezites. This is Hezron. The track is called Wild and Free.
I've got my morals and beliefs. I hold firm to the Almighty. Like the wild horse running.
Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world. From here in South Florida, good night.
So-called know-it-alls. If you a bad advice, then deny you and them are ever talk. So what is meant to be mindful of when the arms of men will fail you? I refuse to be what you want me to be. I am better. Like a lion in the jungle. Controversies. I hold firm to the one and only. Wild and free, like a lion in the jungle. Wild and free, like the eagle soaring in the mountains. It's my life, it's my world. I've got my right there, reserved to be wild and free.
Being in the moment is priceless. Consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulsemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.